You're weak. You're weak. You'll always be weak. You need a gun because you're 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 weak. You need a bullet because your voice is small. You need a.
Wow.
Says the guy with the cracking voice. Well, hey, this is a Couple of Hoosiers podcast, and I'm your host, Ricky Kurtz. We're just a podcast where a couple of Hoosiers sit down and have a little conversation about current topics going on. Today with me, I have Charlie Goldsmith. Go ahead and say hi.
Hi there.
So, if anybody's been paying attention lately, there's been a couple of mass shootings that have happened that are pretty tragic, but the response has been, of course, immediately to just initiate all this gun control and all that. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. Joe Biden said some stuff that was absolutely ridiculous. Canada is freezing all gun ownership of handguns. They're freezing the importation of it and the buying of handguns. And now, while it is just Canada, it raises the alarm of what we should be expecting our politicians to try to do. So, yeah, let's get into this first video with Joe Biden, our
No.
sitting president, whatever you want to call him. I don't know. But let's hear this fool. I mean, totally legitimate president.
And they showed me
Oh, God, I
he
just
said
watched
a
it.
22 caliber bullet will lodge in the lung, and we can probably get it out, may be able to get it and save the life. A 9mm bullet blows the lung out of the body. So the
Oh,
idea of these high caliber weapons there's simply no rational basis for it in terms of what they say about self-protection, hunting. I mean, and remember, the Constitution, the Second Amendment, was never absolute. You couldn't buy a cannon when.
You couldn't buy cannons. This is the second time he has said that, and it is completely false. There's actual letters. I can't remember who they were talking to, but they were pretty much asking one of the signers of the Constitution whether or not they could have cannons on their boat, and he was like,
Yeah.
yeah, duh. And then he's going to talk about 9mm bullets can shoot a lung out of the body. What is wrong with this man?
Yeah, no, that would be more like a Colt 45 or something, one of them big old gigantic handguns. It's not.
I mean, even that is. I
and
mean,
it's still not going to blow the lung
point
out of the
blank.
body. Big old hole in the back. Yeah, lung out of the body. No,
maybe like a little chunks of your lung by blowing the whole.
no, a cannon.
I don't know.
A cannon would blow a lung out. You know?
Plus your stomach, your heart,
You'll like the
all
next
your
part.
intestines.
If you've watched this too, you'll like the next part he says.
Oh yeah. Let's go back to it.
And the Second Amendment was bad. You couldn't go out and purchase a lot of weapons.
Now listen, it says about going against our military.
There was a while there where people were saying that, the tree of liberty is water with the blood of patriots, and what we have to do is have to be able to take on the government when they're wrong. Well, to do that, you need an F-15, you need a
See?
tank. I mean, so it's just, I think things have gotten so bad that
Things have definitely gotten bad, but just saying stuff like that, he's said this repeatedly about how you would need an F-15
Yeah, basically,
and all this
screw
other
you,
stuff to take on
Americans.
the
I've got power. You know what I mean? Come at me with weapons. I've got
But-
F-15.
But I mean, saying that and then trying to say what caliber of
yeah,
ammunition we can have, it's like, okay, maybe we might not be able to take on tanks and jets and all that stuff, but I'd at least like to have
to
something
defend myself against
little-
you. Yeah. And he's
a
trying
little more capable.
He's trying to take our defense away from us, okay? Because that amendment is not for hunting, for self-defense. It is our right against our country, if it ever needs to be, and it needs to be. I hate to say that, but
Hey,
we don't have F-15s.
deer aren't running around with Kevlar vests.
Yeah, I probably will. No.
No, he said the deer aren't running around with Kevlar vests and all that. He said that a couple of times, but yeah, just to show how extreme it can get, our funny cousins to the north of us have decided to do a little something with handguns. Let's go ahead and watch this pathetic excuse of a man.
We're introducing legislation to implement a national freeze on handgun ownership. What this means is that it will no longer be possible to buy, sell, transfer, or import handguns anywhere in Canada. In other words, we're capping the market for handguns.
So we're not going to sell any more guns after we sell these guns.
Like this is exactly where it's leading up to. I mean, if you listen to any of them talking about like high capacity magazines and all that stuff, they're talking about anything. They're like up in Canada, they're talking about 5 rounds. Like that's the limit that you can have. He goes on to say that about their magazine sizes. But here in the United States, they're talking about 10 round maximum capacity.
Is that per clip? Because I'll just hold more clips.
Yeah.
I'll just hold more clips.
Here, my
I have a belt.
I don't know if you guys can see this. This is a magazine to my daily carry that I have. 14 rounds it carries. Makes my gun illegal.
Wow.
That's all I would do. And really, like, limiting the size of the magazine, I mean, what's that really going to do? I mean, here, let me do a little demonstration here. No bullet. No bullet. Completely empty. 1 mag. 2 mag. Both empty. Now watch this. Mag in. Take it out. I can do this all day. What's the use of it? Really quick, a quick plug for myself. Not only do I do these podcasts, but I also am a woodworker. Me and my wife have a little side business. Sell these for about $45. This flag up here, we made that. Now, unfortunately, with inflation and everything that's been happening, everything costs more. So, if you want to hit me up, you can message me through the website. See what we got. Talk to us. I can make pretty much anything that you want. But yeah, let's. I just saw that and I wanted to make a little mention. But yeah, I mean, all the talk that they're saying, I mean, that's eventually where it's going to lead up to. I mean, they constantly talk about like the AR-15s are these deadly weapons of war and assault weapons and all this stuff. But I mean, really, when you look at like the legislation of what they're doing, it's going to lead to handguns being being outlawed like that. I mean, I don't know.
I don't really
silly.
think handguns are the problem. I mean, what did this Texas
Well, I mean, they
shooter
are
just
the.
accuse?
He had a handgun and a rifle.
And a rifle. And what about like I don't know, man. I think the bigger guns are the problem, not the handguns. You know.
Well, most mass shootings are used by handguns.
What? So what? It doesn't matter what they use. They're going to do it anyways. You know what I mean? It's not like
Exactly.
a gun problem. It's a psychological problem. And there's something that was going on with that person along the lines that he just decided nobody's fucking listening. So,
Right.
I'm just going to do this. You hear me now?
Mhm.
That's basically it. And it's sad to think about like that, but that's really what it is. They want to blame all this shit on guns, and it has nothing to do with guns. It has to do with people need help, and they're just not getting it. You know what I
Right.
mean? So when they
Yeah,
don't get
it's
it, if they don't have the money, which is a big problem, there's a lot of countries out there that pay. Everybody talks about, well, you make less money over there and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but your medical is paid for, dude. You can go to the doctor and get fixed up and not have to worry about it in a lot of different countries. We're the only ones that get taxed for everything. You know what I mean?
yeah, but another thing in those countries, they do pay like a higher rate of tax, and even with their medical, they have long waiting periods for like if you have to see a specialist, you might have to wait months at a time, maybe years.
But it happens. You know what I mean? Here, if you ain't got no
I mean,
money, man, like if you ain't got no money and you go there, you're in debt for the rest of your life. You know what I mean? If you don't have any insurance,
true.
you got no money, and you go to the doctor. In this situation that you're talking about, yeah, you may have a waiting period, but it at least happens for you. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Just, I mean, like, damn, man,
I,
how
I,
could
I
you?
get I get where you're coming with that. I get where you're coming with that, but I mean,
And even if
still,
so,
just
here's a point too. Why? Okay, if medical is so important, then why are there nothing against my sports fans and shit like that, but like, why do athletes make more than the people that fix them? You know what I mean? Like, why do we care about such useless bullshit when there's so much more things in the world that are going on that are important? You know what I mean?
so they could say, hey, look over here at this hand.
Yeah.
Don't bother with this hand.
Like, yeah. I
It's all
mean,
just distractions.
like football is a multi-billion-dollar industry now, and it used to just be for fun that people would pay to go see with their families, but now it's mainly watched on TV. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Just to keep us all sitting on the couch, docile and
And every time,
fat and lazy.
yeah, and every time something starts to fade, they come up with something new to separate us again, whether it be, a
Hmm.
racial situation, or, oh, there's a disease floating around, or, just something. There's people overseas that are fucking around. Let's unite for a minute and forget about us. Let's worry about them. You know what I mean? And it's man, this world's crazy. Like, it worries me. It really does. And other people should be
So,
worried too.
yeah, be worried, be afraid, but be
Be
prepared.
ready. Yeah, be fucking ready, because I'm sorry.
This
I
this
cuss like a
this
sailor,
next
but
guy, yeah, shut it, you sinner. Okay, but this next guy, he is definitely not trying to be prepared. He is trying to be the opposite. But let's take a look at this guy.
oh boy. He's hammering a handgun.
No, it's an AR-15.
So,
But yeah, he just keeps on going, just smashing it to bits.
it's quite
Stunning and
makes
brave.
sense to me, but yeah, that was probably like a fucking, oh,
I
sorry,
mean, the only reason I
$1,000
could see
gun.
that possible, the only like possible, I don't know, reasoning for that is if you have like these deep-seated thoughts that you just want to go kill random innocent people. I mean, if you're completely
Right,
mentally stable,
right. I need
you're
to
just
smash
wasting
this
your
gun
money.
because if I don't, I'm gonna. You know what I mean? Like, what drives
But I
you
mean
to that?
that's all where like I don't want to be one of those people that like says that all these mass shootings are like false flags and all that stuff. I want to put it past the government.
I wouldn't either. I was actually just talking with
But
somebody the other day about that. Actually, like, what if,
but
what
I
if,
mean,
look, what if one of these guys like had a grandma or something, or like a sister that was like dying of cancer and blah blah blah, and the only way to save her is with lots of money. And they're like, oh, if you do this, you might die, but
mhm.
your sister will live. And it just conspiracy theorists, call me or what you will. I'm not really, but like, I just think about things. And that's how they deter you from people that actually think about things, is they call them conspiracy theorists. I think the only reason why people get called that is because sometimes some of them are. I mean, you know the difference between somebody that's actually investigated shit and
Yeah,
a batshit crazy dude. You know what I mean?
oh yeah,
You
oh
do,
yeah. But I
but
mean, a lot of the stuff is a lot of this stuff is coming out to be true. Like
Yeah.
everybody was being called a conspiracy theorist for saying that COVID was developed in a lab instead of coming from a bat that was thousands of miles away from patient zero. And I don't know, but I mean, like I said, I don't want to call it a false flag or anything like that. I do believe that it actually happened and it is a tragic situation. But what I
it
see,
is.
like the school shooting that just happened down in Texas, I received a notification on my phone from one of my news apps that I follow, and as soon as I was done reading the article, I went on Twitter, and you see all these lefties and all these politicians immediately jump to the gun control situation, saying we got to get rid of all these guns. Your thoughts and prayers mean nothing. We need action.
Well, I know.
Like the bodies aren't even cold, and you guys are politicizing this
Yeah,
crap.
oh, yeah.
I mean,
Well, I think our biggest problem right now is the left and the right situation because it shouldn't. It's not. You know, we're fighting amongst each other for them. You know what I mean? And I'm sure it's amusing to them. You know what I mean? Oh, they're fighting for us. Ha ha ha. They don't even know what's going on. You know, we should be more worried about like us worried about what they're doing, you know, but they just keep breaking our concentration with stupid stuff all the time. You know, look over here.
they want us to live in fear.
You know, it was like when that Bruce Jenner shit was going on, man, there was some high political shit going on. You know what I mean? And people were more worried about the fact that Bruce Jenner just got a sex change. And, you know what I mean?
Yeah, right after he ran over somebody in his car.
Yeah, like, come on. Come on.
Wait,
Oops.
Bruce Jenner did that, not Caitlyn.
Yeah, I don't know
Not
who you're
Caitlyn.
talking
Caitlyn didn't
about.
do that.
Blame it on me. I'm a woman. Hits or some shit with his thoughts. I don't know.
That whole
That just worries me how we just blow shit over. Like all the stuff that's been going on, man. People have been more worried about Johnny Depp than actually what the hell's been going on. Johnny Depp and the fact that his bed got shit on. Dude, Johnny Depp, I feel for you. That's one crazy bitch. But it didn't need to go on for as long as it did. You're already an actor.
No.
You know, like,
Yeah.
damn, dude. People were more worried about that than what was going on. Than anything else. Just, it worries me. It gives me a headache. You see this?
I got a headache.
You good?
Stop being stupid. All right, but let's go ahead and look at this bill that they're proposing in the House right now. HR 7910 to amend Title 18 United States Code to provide for an increased age limit on the purchase of certain firearms, prevent gun trafficking, modernize the prohibition on untraceable firearms, encourage the safe storage of firearms, and for other purposes. Mr. Nadler is the one who introduced this bill. And you can see it's got quite a bit to it.
Mm-hmm.
All this bill right here. Packing everything into it.
And I hope that people out there, you know, whether they watch this or some other podcast or listen to some other stuff, that people actually, now with all this technology, instead of watching somebody make fart bubbles in a pool or, you know, doing backflips or whatever, you know, on TikTok or whatever, I hope that they take the time to like research when they find out about bills like this, because people should want to know, but they don't.
Oh,
They're
nobody
more worried-
reads the bills.
No, they're more worried about other stuff, you know.
Yeah, like we just had the whole Roe v. Wade leak that was happening, and Congress was trying to push out a bill that would give doctors the right to perform an abortion all the way up to 9 months. And like the people that are pro-choice like have no idea about it. They don't read the bill. They just sit and want to complain and live in blissful ignorance that they don't know what they're talking about. Like you talk to any of these people and they're like, "What are you talking about? 9 months?" Colorado, Illinois, California, I believe New York. I'm not 100% sure, but there are states that are doing it, and like people just aren't paying attention
Well,
to this stuff. They're just
I feel we
they're
should.
NPCs.
I mean, like, it worries me a little bit. Like that's it's damn
Lost
near
your
like
audio. Oh, there it goes.
that's almost like, you know, I don't know, like it being born and killing it too at 9 months, man. That's a little far. I mean, I'm all about, it's the woman's choice and everything, but 9 months, dude, that's like, why not at
Yeah,
that
but up to
point just
when?
have it and give it away at that point? You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
mean, I understand overpopulation, which people probably won't like what I have to say next, but we need to stop keeping old people alive that don't even know who the hell they are. I love my grandparents, I do, man, but if I ever get to that point where I don't know who the hell I am, please shoot me or something, because I ain't gonna know no better. I'd be shooting a deer, you know what I mean? and,
Oh
and it's
boy.
and it's nothing against old people, because like I said, I love my grandparents, but I mean, I don't think they would want to be around at that point. I don't want nobody wiping my ass after you know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Yeah, and they keep on
yeah.
coming up with all these things just to keep us older and keep us.
I mean, if you can stay fit and older, that's another thing, you know what I mean? But like, I mean, old folks' homes,
Most
that
people
shouldn't
don't.
be a thing, you know? Well, we are starting to live longer and longer. Like, relatively. If you think back in the 1800s, we only lived to about 35, 40. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
In these days, most people average 60. I've seen 75-year-old men come in to my place of business and, you know, look fit as a door.
But yeah, before we get too further off track, let's go back to this bill. We'll talk about this. So first off, in the bill, they want to raise the age. Uh, any firearm or ammunition to any individual who the licensee knows or has reasonable cause to believe has not attained 18 years of age. Any semi-automatic center-fire rifle or semi-automatic center-fire shotgun that has or has the capacity to accept an ammunition feeding device with a capacity exceeding 5 rounds to any individual who the licensee knows or has reasonable cause to believe has not attained 21 years of age and is not a qualified individual. So, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much already a thing most states, I believe. Like, 18-year-olds can purchase handgun. Or no. I'm wrong about that. I think it's right now 18-year-olds can purchase rifles and shotguns, and they have to wait till they're 21 to purchase the handguns because they're easily concealed and all that stuff. It's harder to hide a AR-15 in your coat. I mean, people do it, but so yeah, they're just wanting to raise the whole gun age to 21.
Well, honestly, that's a crazy age to raise it to, because it's the same age you have to be to legally drink too, you know. And we
And
all
smoke
know
now.
we all know that drinking and guns never usually go well together. But I mean, I do believe, in my opinion, when it comes to the gun thing, it needs to be more of like a psych test. You know what I mean? That comes with a permit instead
But you
of
want to
the
give that right
age.
over. You want to give that right over to the government to determine whether you're sane enough, or like how they put it in there,
It's catch 22,
the
really.
qualified
You know,
individual.
it's a catch 22, really. You know what I mean? Because if you do give them that control for a minute, they'll act it right, and certain people may not. But then eventually, basically, they're trying to take away our defense against them. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it'll be
And
complete.
especially like
It'll be
why I say
complete when
like
they
if
do that.
why I say, like, if you want to give that right over to the government to determine who's like sane and all that stuff. I mean, I've said this before. We have plenty of proof that the government has been calling people that are on the right domestic terrorists. Like moms going to these school board meetings, they've been calling them terrorists. So I mean, all it take,
Wow.
yeah. That's why I
Just another way to separate us, really, man.
Mhm.
Like,
I don't want the government telling me. I don't know. I agree that there needs to be something done. I do believe that it's a cultural issue and mental health issue. It's definitely not a gun issue. I just don't like the idea of the government
deciding
determining
who's sane and
who.
who's not.
Yeah,
But I mean, if somebody's got a better idea, come up with it. You know what I mean? Is basically it. You know, like, or maybe not necessarily the government. Maybe these gun stores could take it into their own hands and do psych tests of their own on them. There's ways around it.
possibly. But I mean, like that leads into the discussion. Like, if what was I gonna say? Like if you have to like go to the doctor and like see like how your mental health is and it determines whether or not you're going to be able to own a firearm, because a lot of I've seen other bills and stuff like that. I've talked about it like with red flag laws. A lot of that stuff goes into like talking about people who go to the doctor and get medication for like their anxiety or depression or something like that would limit them from access to firearms. And I mean, I've dealt with anxiety and depression, and I think I'm fine owning a firearm. I'm not crazy. I don't want the government telling me that I can't have the right to defend myself.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. That's it's just like no offense against people that got the shot, but I refuse to get this shot for the vaccine. You know what I mean? Like that, man. That should be my right. Nobody should look down on me for choosing that either, because I don't look down on people for choosing to get it. You know what I mean?
Right.
If you want to be a sheep and let them inject you with whatever they say it is, that's fine. But I've had several people say that it made them feel funny afterwards, and there was a series of shots apparently, and there's still more shots coming, isn't there?
Oh yeah. I think it was Pfizer that just recently came out with information saying that, like, confirming what people were saying, again, being called conspiracy theorists, saying that there was like blood clots happening with people. They just confirmed that, but now they got it going where they're trying to get shots available for children under 5 years old.
Oh no.
I don't know. I don't know how much I want to say, since I upload these videos to YouTube, and YouTube has this tendency to cut that off. So let's just get back into this bill before we go a little too far on that. But next, they want to prevent gun trafficking. Let's see, Chapter
That would be
44
a
of
good thing, honestly, man, because that's more the problem. It's the guns on the streets. It's not the guns in the stores. You know what I mean? It's the illegal
Yeah,
guns being
but
pushed around on the streets.
then you
You
got
know,
to look into how they're going to actually implement it. Like there's talking about here, the term family members means spouses, domestic partners, parents, and their children, including step parents and stepchildren, siblings, aunts or uncles, and their nieces or nephews or grandparents or grandchildren. That's pretty much like who you'd be able to like sell a gun to or whatever, or gift a gun to. Like right now, the way that they have it is there's no like background checks or any sort of hoops you got to jump through for private firearm sales right now, because to be honest, the only way that they can actually do it, you keep on hearing them talk about like universal background checks. That's talking about private citizens selling firearms, not actually going into the gun store and buying a gun, because you already have to get a background check with that. But the only way that the universal background check would work is that they implement a national registry to where every gun that you buy, they actually have to send the information into the government, so the government knows that you have it and all of that.
yeah.
But okay, so it shall be unlawful for any person other than the licensee under this chapter in or otherwise affecting interstate or foreign commerce to knowingly purchase or acquire or attempt to purchase or acquire a firearm for the possession of a third party.
So
Okay.
basically, you can't buy one for somebody.
Yeah, I believe what it's saying, like up above, where it's talking about like family members and all that stuff. You can still buy it for them, but it gets down to like how are they going to enforce that? How are they going to know that? I mean,
Yeah, how are they going to enforce and know that? I mean, I think it should be more
it
of a,
sounds good on
if you want
paper.
to buy a gun for somebody, you should take that somebody to the gun store and buy it in their name if that's what's going to happen. You know what I mean? Even if it's
But
your
then it
kid.
gets back to like how they're going to track it, how they're going to know it, how they're going to implement it
True.
to where it
Because
doesn't
it could
become an
be like,
invasion
I'm
of your
buying this for
privacy.
me and then give it to us. You know, I get that.
Yeah.
I kind of do. But,
I
you know,
I get where the people are
it's a
at. Where
rough
they're,
road when it comes to that. Because you want
Yeah, it's
limitation on it, but then you don't. You know what I mean? We don't want our right to be able to defend ourselves against our crazy ass government, but we also don't want people like people that pull the shit they pull with guns. You know what I mean? It's not guns that kill people; it's people that kill people with guns. Because
definitely.
you don't hear about people getting stabbed to death, which is also something that happens in this fucking country. You know, you also don't hear
Quite a
about
bit.
any of our soldiers getting shot over there. It's all about getting shot over here. You know what I mean? Like, what about the camps that get mortared and stuff? It's there's more things to worry about, than each other. We need to come together, and I'm not trying to be like a hug a tree kind of guy or nothing like that, but dude, we do. We need
Tree
to come
hugger.
together. We need to come together against.
Oh, definitely.
And I'm not saying we should just stand up against them. Make it known. Look, man, no, we're not going to do this no more. But I always wondered why do all these congressmen and the Senate and shit get to sit in their seats forever until they're like white ash bones, but the president only gets 2 terms.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Shouldn't they only get 2 terms?
Well, and then you also got to look into like what people refer to as like the deep state, like all the bureaucrats that aren't voted in, that are just working like secretaries for the congressmen, all these people that are just constantly working forever with these people. They're all working in the government, in the federal government. They don't. I don't know. The biggest problem with this is like I get that something needs to be done because it is a problem, but more again, it's more of a culture problem. Like people just don't have respect for other people,
Not
and
anymore,
like you said,
really.
I do agree that we do need to come together because I believe like this whole like liberal mindset of like individualism that people have had in the past like 30, 40, 50 years is what's decaying our society. I mean, I don't like the term collectivism. Like I don't want like hive mind type thinking or something like that. But I mean,
No,
people
it's
do
not
need to
even
like
that. It's standing up
people
for
that are
our
like
rights that have been just slowly taken over the past 50, 60 years. You know what I mean? Even longer than that. It's just, and they're just going to keep doing it. And what some of these whiny people, that fight about people's rights and shit don't understand is some of the rights that they're fighting about, they already have. You know what I mean? You already have them.
yeah, people fighting for human rights right now. It's like everybody has the
you
same
have
rights.
that.
Some people actually have more rights because there's
Oh yeah.
discrimination laws, hate crime laws, all that stuff. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just all noise.
It
All
is.
noise.
It's static to keep you focused on something other than them. You know what I mean? It's just a cloud of smoke to keep you hazed, dazed, and confused. You know what I mean? And it's working.
Oh, it's
You know what I
definitely
mean?
working. Some
And
people are waking up.
I
Some
hope
people
so.
are
I
paying
hope the whole
attention.
nation wakes up. You know what I mean? Because America used to be great, and I believe it still is. Our government's just shit, and it needs a
Oh, yeah.
reboot. You know what I mean? Like everybody in office, they don't give a shit about us no more. You know what I mean?
Nope.
It used to be
There's very
ran
few.
by the people for the people, and now it's just ran by the people for the people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the wrong people ain't.
The
We
wrong
don't see
people.
none of it. Yeah.
Mhm.
We don't see none of it. We don't see none of the kickback, man. These people are getting fat rich while we all just keep getting poorer and paying more money out for shit. You know what I
All
mean?
these
Like,
politicians who have like $160,000 annual salary, making millions of dollars.
yeah. Yeah. Like, and I
Who
get
knows?
taxed a shit ton of money for everything I do. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? You should be getting taxed, dude.
Mm.
You know? And I mean, all's fair in love and war, and I understand that these people, some of these people built these companies from the ground up, and I get that. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But like, why do we have to get the shitty shake from it? You know what I mean? Why the people, you know, the middle class people that work and make everything happen, basically, if you think about it,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? Why do we get the shit end of the deal? Why don't we get some of the shared love too? But it's just not that way anymore, man. This country is ran by the rich man now and
Oh
for
yeah.
the rich man.
Oh yeah.
And everybody else is just shit,
Mhm.
basically. You know what I mean? Terrorists or, you know, whatever you want to, the rights, the lefts, the angries, the poors, the fucking, you know, whatever you want to, whatever words you want to use to segregate us again and get us fighting against each other instead of looking at what the hell you're doing, keep it up. You know what I mean? Like, and people fall for it. That's the worm.
Oh, dude, yeah, they
The
do.
more worrisome thing to me is that people fall for it. They're like, yeah, yeah, fuck them rights, you know, fuck them
Mhm.
lefts. You know, it ain't right and left. It's us and them.
Well, the left is not helping our cause
No,
as
they're not because they're the sheep.
they're trying to concede more power over to the government, and
Yeah, they're the sheep, man. And a lot of them people I could probably even be friends with, I bet, but except for that fact, you know what I mean? Like, and it's not even the fact that they're the left, they're just not awoken. Like, we need to wake up, people.
yeah,
We need to wake up.
the people
Smell
that
the
claim to be
smelling
woke
salt,
are
man.
asleep.
They done knocked you out once. Don't let them keep you on the mat. You know what I mean? Because
All right, let's see. Keep on going before we go further down a rabbit hole. But next is untraceable firearms. Okay, so this is like getting into like the term ghost gun and all this stuff. Pretty much just guns without a serial number on them. Let's see what this says. The term manufacturing firearms shall include assembling a functional firearm or molding, machining, or 3D printing a frame or receiver, and shall not include making or fitting special barrels, stocks, or trigger mechanisms to the firearm. Okay, well, at least they're saying that, but I mean, still, it's like, I can't make my own gun? Who are you?
I mean, you know, I think you should be able to make your own gun, but the only problem
Hell
is
yeah.
how are you going to license it? How are people going to
Exactly.
know
Again, it's just another
about
thing
it?
where they're like saying all this stuff, but it's like, how are they going to implement it? How are they going to enforce it?
Then
And then they
again,
call it ghost gun.
if you want to go back to the golden age, man, your land is your land. You have every right to defend it however you see fit. You know what I mean? I believe we should still live by that. But these days, people are getting sued for people shot on their own property when they were trying to rob them. You know what I mean? Like, you shot me in the leg and I was running away. Yeah, because you were on my fucking property stealing my shit.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't quite make it off the yard. I'm sorry. But no, now they can sue you for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, at least there are companies out there that are trying to help people with that, because I do believe that it is every person's. I absolutely hate the people. Well, I don't want to. I have a great dislike for people who try to defend the people that are breaking into other people's house, endangering them and their families. I don't know. It's
who
ridiculous.
end up
to me.
winning lawsuits and
Yeah.
shit. Yeah. Like, what?
Yeah, like I just
what?
saw this story. I think it was down in Florida, or it might have been Texas. I think it was Texas, but it was one of the states that has the stand your ground laws, castle doctrines, where you have the right to shoot people who break into your house. And these three kids broke into this guy's house. He had an AR-15 and he laid all three of them flat. And like I get that like the family members were like, it's sad, but I mean at the end of the day, they made the decision to break into somebody's houses, and they had another chick with them who was like the getaway driver, and she was saying that they had been doing it for a while. They would like stake out these houses and all that stuff, and then they would pick the house that they want to break into. And like I think it was one of their grandfathers or something was saying that like the kids had like knives and brass knuckles and stuff like that, and the guy came out with an AR-15. Like,
Just swept the room, huh?
yeah, he was like, who was really in danger there?
Okay, so in my opinion, here, okay, in my opinion, them three boys came onto his property, right?
Mhm.
I feel very, very bad for the fact that they passed,
Mhm.
but
Definitely.
somebody didn't fucking raise them right.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they did, the little shits wouldn't have been there doing that in the first place and wouldn't have got their ass shot.
Right?
But if you come on a man's property trying to do harm to him, he has every right to do harm to you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you get killed in the process, well, I guess you shouldn't have went on that man's property.
Make
You know
better
what I mean?
choices.
Right. I mean, if that was me and I walked
Again, it
on
gets
that
back
dude's
to
property and he shot me, fuck. Oh, I shouldn't have walked on his property.
It gets back to the whole culture issue. It's like people just don't have respect for other people's property,
No,
other people. I mean,
I see it in everyday life, man. Whatever happened to holding the door for people, man? That
Mhm.
rarely happens anymore. There's, oh, sorry. Yeah, you are.
and then you have the crazy feminists who get pissed off at you if you hold the door for them. Like, I could get my
Yeah.
own door. I don't need a man to hold the door for me.
It's not a man holding the door for a woman. It's a human holding the door for another human.
Feminism is the
Suck up,
poison to our
self-righteous
country.
bitch. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that.
Ah,
I'm sorry.
I've got a
People-
sailor on here.
I do. I know. I'm sorry.
But yeah, this bill just keeps on going into more stuff. I'll post it on the website. Go to the website, check out the blogs. I write a blog for every episode listing all the sources that I put on here. Subscribe to the website, and then you'll get everything emailed to you. Be sure when you watch this on either YouTube or Rumble, hit that like and subscribe button, and even comment. Tell me what you think. If you hate it, okay, I'll listen to it. Hey, if you make the hate comment like funny enough, I might read it. Make me laugh. All right, but let's keep on going. Oh, I think we lost Charlie. Oh no. All right, so yeah, like I was saying, you could check out everything that we have on the website. You can get all everything that we do, the podcast episodes. If you just want to listen to it, you'll be able to see all the videos that we do from here. And like I said, if on every single page, I've got a subscribe button, so you can subscribe with your email address and get everything sent straight to your email address. So as soon as I release it, you guys will get it. But most importantly, make sure you guys share the podcast. We're pretty much anywhere that you can find podcasts. The video will be on YouTube for as long as they let me be on there, and Rumble. I'm also looking into Odyssey, but they have a little funny way of doing this, so I don't quite understand it. But let's go ahead and jump back into this bill. We were talking about the ghost guns and the untraceable firearms. And let me share the screen. But yeah, just so I can reiterate it, the term manufacturing firearms shall include assembling a functional firearm or molding, machining, or 3D printing a frame or receiver, and shall not include making or fitting special barrels, stocks, or trigger mechanisms to firearms. The term ghost gun means a firearm including a frame or receiver that lacks a unique serial number engraved or cast on the frame or receiver by a licensed manufacturer or importer in accordance with this chapter. So pretty much that part of the bill, I like the fact that they're saying like the stocks and barrels and trigger mechanisms, like that's not going to be a part of the whole thing. They're pretty much just wanting to get rid of like, because if you know anything, you can go like onto websites or go into gun stores and you can get the frames and uppers and lower receivers to build your own AR-15 or AK-47 or pretty much any rifle, and they want to completely get rid of that, which I think is just stupid.
Well, I don't think it would be a bad idea to get rid of people making that stuff in their home because they're not gunsmiths. You can watch a lot of stuff on YouTube and stuff, but I think, you know, if they're going to want to build their own gun, they should do it kind of like an auto parts store. You go in, you order
but why should
parts.
why should the government determine that? I mean, I could build my own car.
You could, but everything is still serialed, and you still need a serial number to find parts for it. You know,
I guess, but
I mean, like, it's not that I'm against it. It's just, it's a fine line, man. It's a fine line. There's a lot of stupid people out there, and if they don't have regulation, you know.
agreed.
But then again, I don't really want to put, you know, it's like that age-old saying, don't ever put all your eggs in one basket. I'm not willing to put all my eggs in the government's basket. You can
No
have
doubt.
one. You can have one, and I'll see how you do with that. If you break it, we're done. Well, they done broke.
Well, if you take a look at the Second Amendment, let's actually pop this up here and share this real quick. The Second Amendment: a well-regulated militia, comma, being necessary to the security of a free state, comma, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Now, what does infringe mean?
Changed.
From Merriam-Webster: to encroach upon in a way that violates law or the rights of another. Defeat or frustrate. All gun control is an infringement and completely unconstitutional.
Yeah, good luck with that, though. That's the unfortunate thing. Unless we all feel the same way, nothing's ever going to change. We're just going to keep bickering amongst each other. Well, there should be gun safety. Well, yeah, there should be, but that should be common sense as well. And you people out there that aren't teaching your kids common sense, you're part of the problem. You want to argue about things and everything like that, but really, honestly, a lot of these people either just needed love or some kind of psychological evaluation and help. If they'd have gotten it, it never would have happened. We were talking about that earlier, actually. You know, it's not a gun problem. It's a unity problem. It's just
it's completely cultural, societal. I mean, I get what people are coming from, where they say that they want to do something to try and stop it, but I mean, they're looking at it from the wrong angle. I mean, it's kind of like back in school where, like, if you got in trouble, the whole class got in trouble. That idiotic method. I mean, it's...
No, I get what you're saying. It's like because you get a few dumb people, everybody gets punished for it, which is maybe kind of, but not really the answer. Maybe we should reflect on ourselves instead of punishing. You know what I mean? Reflect on how things have gotten before we make such crude decisions. You can't take our right to defend ourselves against you. That's like you said, unconstitutional. That was always put in place for situations like we're kind of going through. You know what I mean? You guys are trying to take away everything that we pride ourselves in being Americans about, and some of us are just like, oh yeah, trust the government. We have not been able to trust the government for a very long time. We can trust
like,
about half
I
of what
constantly
comes out their mouth.
I constantly go back and forth from, like, being a conservative to being a libertarian. Like, I used to, like, more identify with, like, libertarian ideology, like, completely, like, limited government. But like how you're saying, like, there's got to be some sort of limitations and regulations. I get that. That's why I lean more heavily on conservatism than I do libertarianism.
Right. I believe laws are for good things, but I think that good laws.
This government that we have in place right now doesn't have our best interests in mind.
No, they have their best interests. That's all they care about.
Like I want to do something. I want something to be done. I hate hearing about kids dying.
Me too. It's heartbreaking,
From
but
it is, but the
how
way
about-
that they're
how
going
about-
about it.
how about the person that did it, man? Think about how heartbroken he was, that he was at such an ends in his life that was the only other option he had. You know what I mean? Or she had. It is statistically
And
more
what I
men
wanna-
that do it, but I mean, there are women out there that do it too. And if these people had people that actually gave a shit about them, you know what I mean? Like these days, people are more worried about just throwing money at the issue instead of what needs to be thrown. Like these people with their kids and everything. Now, I got nothing against technology. I think it's a wonderful thing. But tablets and iPhones and everything else, they're not babysitters, man. Instead of telling your kid to look it up on Google, why don't you sit down with the flipping book? I stopped myself. And fucking teach your kid some shit. Damn it. And then I turn around and screwed it up right afterwards. No, but like, damn,
It's all good.
man, I like having cookouts with my kids and having my kids around and talking to them, Are there times where we're in separate rooms and not put each other up each other's ass? Of course there is. But you know what? There's also them times where them kids need you instead of just you doing shit with them, or giving shit to them and buying shit for them. And, here, go out with your friends or something. No, be more inquisitive about what the hell your kids are doing instead of just saying, oh, they're fine. Maybe they're not. Take time every now and then to ask your kids how the fuck they are instead of just,
No doubt.
shoving their face in something. And maybe stuff like
Like
this,
we were saying earlier.
shooting a bunch of people
Like we were-
wouldn't happen.
Yeah, like we were saying earlier, I mean the whole collectivism thing and people like we need to rebuild the communities because we become so entrenched in the internet and all this stuff. Like we're more focused
Lazy.
about sending out a tweet and talking to people that are 5 states away than we are talking to our own neighbor that's right next
That's
door.
right next to you, man. Do you know how
Like
many times I just want to slap the shit out of people when I walk into a room full of people and they're all on their phones talking to other people? Like, dude, you got somebody right next to you. You know what I mean? There was a comedian. I won't name his name because I don't want any copyright infringements or whatever to go against me or whatever. But it was something funny that he said, but is true. All these people out here saying, oh, take pictures. I'm going to take a picture of myself on my cell phone so I can send it to you. So you can look at me taking a picture of myself. Please love me. You know what I mean? And that's what the world is anymore. It's all about me. Well, fuck a selfie. What happened in Ussies? You know what I mean? How about an Ussie?
Yeah, me and my wife were just talking about that earlier. Our daughter is graduating and all of that, and we're setting up a little slideshow for her and all this stuff. And she had this little iPod when she was younger, and we're going through all these pictures and shit, getting it all set up. And 100 of the pictures are just selfies, and I'm like, what?
Right.
Every
Dude, if
single
you look
chance she
on-
gets, it's
I don't do it very often. You know how I feel about Facebook and all that, but every now and then I'll get on friends, stuff, and every now and then, and I'll see on some of these friends' Facebooks, dude, it's just I'll go into their pictures just to see how their life's been, what they've been up to, and it's just picture after picture after picture of themselves. This is what you've been up to for the last 10 years? Dude.
Yeah, see, take a picture of something. Don't be so vain and take a picture of yourself.
Right. I see you.
Unless
through
I'm
your profile. I don't see you
I'll do
100
something
times.
stupid. I'll make a stupid face and I'll take a selfie just to be like, ugh.
Yeah.
But I mean,
But not every
I don't know.
times.
It just shows you how far things have gone, and it's crazy.
I mean,
Yeah,
it
there needs to
is.
be a deeper family connection.
There does need to be that hardcore because we're missing out.
And not even
we're missing out
like,
on
we talk-
compassion and understanding and caring, man. Kids don't have that anymore. It's just, oh, you want that? Google it. You know what I mean? You might
Right.
be able to find somebody to love you, and that's why you get all these people that are just selfies and look at me and look what I'm doing and all about me and me. Please love me.
Speaking of that, Speaking of that, oh my gosh, me and the wife just saw this video. They're making these like little AI robots that you give to your kids, and they're supposed to help them with like
Yeah.
socializing skills. And I'm like,
That's what you're for. That's what you're for. Like, you are
oh
parents.
my, these people are completely missing the plot.
Like, oh my god.
Like
these people that
I've
have
already got an
nannies, too.
issue.
I can understand a nanny if you have to go to work and everything, but when you get home,
Mm-hmm.
the nanny shouldn't continue to take care of your kids. Now, I know that doesn't happen for a lot of people, but even rich people, you guys should have a connection with your children. It's important,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And if
Well,
you
rich
don't,
people.
they
The
go
thing
and
about
blow
rich
20
people.
people away in a school.
The thing about these rich people that people should know is that they don't let their kids access the internet like we do. Like, their kids don't have phones, their kids don't have computers because they know what the internet does to them. Like this whole TikTok generation and all
Yeah.
that shit. It
Yeah,
it damages the mind.
it really does, because I've noticed a lot of these, and I would get on my own kids, and I would make them go out and do shit and leave their phone inside,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like, go do something. Stop watching people have fun and just go have fun, man. You know? And,
No doubt.
this is what I'm talking about. You give kids like that access to the internet, they're seeing all kinds of things. They're seeing pornography at a touch.
That's my
At a
biggest problem.
touch. Pornography, you're seeing shit overseas where people are just blowing other people away, sick, sadistic, come to life fantasies of really twisted people, which if that's how they are, that's how they are, you know, and eventually whatever needs to happen to you is going to happen to you, but it wasn't all over the internet. And now that it is, and it's a click away, all these kids are seeing this shit, and it's twisting their mind before they're even mature enough to make their own decisions. Like the thing
And
you were
like that's
talking to me
that's
about
like
earlier about this gay pride thing, where they, you know, I got nothing against the gays or whoever wants to do whatever to their body, but toddlers should not be slipping money into transgender dancing women.
no.
Like, that
Yeah,
is just so twisted that anybody thinks
Just to
okay.
add context to what we're talking about, today while we're recording this, down in Dallas, Texas, they had a Drag Kids to Pride event where they took these little toddlers. I'm not going to show a video of it
Please
because
don't.
it makes me sick to my stomach.
I just ate,
But-
so
But literally took these kids into this gay bar to have a drag show and have them give money to these men that are dressed up as women and these like
that's a bar scene, dude. That is not a child scene. That is something
And, like, the
that
biggest-
they do in their own bars, and if they want to do that, that's cool. But do not impressionate little children like that. That's wrong on so many levels, and anybody that thinks it's okay is themselves twisted in the head. This is what
And the-
happens. Oh my goodness, I have so much to say.
And
on
the
this,
biggest
but-
thing, yeah, we'll save it for another episode. But the biggest thing that got me with this is like there was this big neon pink sign in the background that you could clearly see that said, "It's not going to lick itself."
Oh my god! And how old did you say these kids were? Like toddler age and shit, like 3 and 4.
Dude, like maybe 5, 6 at the most.
So reading level.
Like there was babies.
Reading
There
level.
was babies. Like I mean,
Well, babies are one thing because they don't really even know what they're seeing. They're seeing colorful shit at the time. But like, you start talking
right?
5,
But I
6,
mean,
7
still,
year
I
old
mean,
kids.
that's. I don't know. I read some stuff and like I mean, babies like soak up more things than we actually like realize.
They do. They really do. I mean, they are.
And
just
that's
a
why-
sponge
that's
at
why-
that age, but. And this
Okay,
is,
but-
this is confusion. For
Hey, hold
people.
up,
I'm
hold up.
sorry.
Let's-
Yep. Another show.
We're gonna get off at a tangent. But let's get on to the next part of this bill before we get going. Yeah, I got so many problems with that, but
Another time.
Title 4, safe storage. Now this part is like, I get it. I agree that people should have their guns like locked up and away from children. But my problem again is how are they going to enforce it? Like, is a cop just going to randomly stop by my house at any
Knock
hour of
on
the
the door
day,
and wanna come
make
in?
sure
Yeah.
my make sure my guns are locked away, guns in one safe in one room, magazines in another safe in another room, ammunition down in the basement, buried in the ground in
Now,
another
honestly,
safe.
okay, so I want to touch on that a little bit. My opinion on that is that parents who own guns should be more knowledgeable with their children about guns.
Mm-hmm.
Because the ammunition, if somebody breaks into your house, they're not going to wait for you to run to the other safe to get the clip to put in your gun before they blow you and your
Hey.
family away.
Hey, you got to quit doing that. Quit calling it a clip. It's a magazine.
Whatever.
You're bugging
I don't
me.
care. I don't care. It's a clip, okay? Clip is faster. Clip is easier. Clip is sexier. No.
It's that
Actually,
hood talk.
Magazine. Anyways, my point is that the ammunition, I understand large amounts of ammunition should be separated from your firearm in like a safe outside in your garage, but you should always have a clip with the gun. That is so stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like I said, nobody's going to wait for you to go and get ammunition real quick before they just shoot you down. Oh, yeah, just hold on.
Hey, hold up, sir.
Yeah, let me go get my clip real quick because I got no bullets in this gun. But when I do, you better run. It's stupidity on a whole new level. And the thing that bugs me more that's stupid is that people go along with it.
Mm-hmm. Now,
It's
speaking
not-
of
it's
people
not
who
the
go
guns,
along
it's
with
the
it,
knowledge. The knowledge needs to be passed to children about guns, and maybe shit like this wouldn't happen. This ain't Grand Theft Auto, boy. Maybe kids need their ass whooped more than they do now. You know what I mean? Like, they just don't get it no more. They get a slap on the
now,
hand.
real quick, this cracked me up. I've talked about her before on the podcast in our first 2 episodes, Shannon Watts. She is from Indiana, and she started up this group called Moms Demand Action. They're a pretty significant anti-gun group in America. But she made this tweet about seeing an advertisement for body armor on Facebook. And she was like, oh, what did she say? I don't know. I don't have the original tweet because she blocked me after I said all this. But it was something about like 21 mass shooters wear body armor, and in the last 10 years, a majority of them wore it. But I was like, how dare someone buy something that protects them from being shot? The majority of the 21 mass shooters to wear body armor were in the last 10 years. How many mass shootings happens each year? CBS reports 417 just in 2019. How do mass shooters and body armor connect? Seriously, why is she trying to relate mass shooters to people who buy body armor? People have the right not to be shot. I could somewhat understand if she were to say something about taking guns from people, but body armor, make it make sense.
Well, I'll tell you something along them lines. There was this video that I seen of this mother, and it was actually a commercial for a thing that she had found online. And it is a backpack bulletproof pad that you can put in your child's backpack, which I thought was really neat. You know what I mean? With all these problems we got going on right now, that would be a good idea. And I'm not.
I mean,
throwing no pitch
I
for
honestly
nobody, but
hate.
children need to be safe.
I hate that we're at that point where we have to make stuff like that. But I mean, seriously, at what point? Seriously, she said like there's been 21 mass shooters that have worn body armor, and a majority of them were in the last 10 years.
Well, 3 of them were 10 years ago. If you remember the 3 armed shooters that robbed that bank and then came out and they killed like a buttload of cops. I mean, that was.
Oh, I think I do remember that. Yeah,
It was like 10, 15
but I think
years ago.
the Buffalo shooter, he was wearing body armor, and I think that's what sent her off on that tangent. But I want to say props to her. She is the first person to block me on Twitter.
Well,
Congratulations.
And I can understand her uproar because, her kid probably went to one of those schools, or she's just one of them mothers that really cares about children in general. I get where her heart's at, and I give her props for her
I
passion.
don't know. I've listened to a
But
lot
it's,
of her. I've listened to a lot of her speaking. She doesn't know what she's talking about.
although it may be misdirected, I can appreciate her passion for trying to propagandic thumb, or whatever.
Well, and that's exactly what it is. It's everything that she's spewing is just propaganda, and she's pretty much just a billboard for her politicians. And
Great.
yeah,
Poster-
I've listened
poster
to
child.
interviews. I've listened to interviews that she's done, and some of the other people that are in the organization. Like, I will say that there are some genuine women that are in Moms Demand Action that like really want to see change, and they like hate this. But there's a lot of people, and I believe Shannon. I could be wrong. She can like not block me on Twitter and actually like conversate with me.
Right. Like,
And
I don't understand why people do that. If somebody has a qualm, why don't you talk it out, man? You might understand that
Exactly.
you have more views that are the same than different. It's just the one that's blocking your, people need to be a little
I
more open-minded to shit.
I get that I'm a nobody right now, but I mean, hey, obviously I struck some sort of nerve.
Right.
Say something.
It's just because you went
But-
against what she says.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what everybody's about. I'm just going to ignore you, block you, ban you from my life if you disagree with me. Yeah, and that's
Exactly.
basically what it is.
But all right.
Self-entitlement is another problem, but another show.
Yeah, I honestly say that a lot, and I really need to go back to the episodes and be like, okay, what did I say that I'm going to talk about in another
Be
episode?
like, shit,
I could probably
we
do
got
a
492 episodes I got to make now.
Okay, so secure gun storage by owners. In general, except as provided in Clause 2, it shall be unlawful for a person to store or keep any firearm that has moved in or that has otherwise affected interstate or foreign commerce on the premises of a residence under the control of the person if the person knows or reasonably should know that a minor is likely to gain access to the firearm without the permission of the parent or guardian of the minor or the resident of the
Okay, stop right there. First of all, just real quick, I don't think any child should ever retrieve a firearm for an adult. Okay, continue.
Well, no, they're pretty much saying like make sure it's out of reach that
reach,
they
yeah.
could get to the gun without like yeah, I mean
on, like,
well,
the
I mean
top
like
of a
think of like
closet
kids that
shelf
go
or
like on
something
hunting
like
trips.
that. Yeah.
Like, I mean, I work with some Amish people, and I mean, they have their kids. They go out hunting.
Yeah, but they're a whole different
When it's in
society.
season.
They have
I envy that
privileges.
society.
I kind of do too, in a way. Like, I wouldn't want to do without electricity. I ain't even gonna lie. But I don't
Oh, they
do
don't
nearly
do
as
without
much
it.
as most other people do.
Real quick, anybody thinking that the Amish are going without electricity? No, they're not. Don't let them lie to you. They got generators. They got cell phones. Most of them work in warehouses that are filled with electricity. Make it make sense.
Right. I had to take a moment. Sorry about that.
You're good. But yeah, I mean, pretty much this is it's common sense stuff. I just don't like the fact that they're putting it in a bill and like trying to make it to where it's illegal. Like I think like the only way that it would actually come up in court is like if like a child got a hold of somebody's gun. Like I don't.
And there's been cases.
I was
of
kind-
that. There's been cases throughout many years of kids getting a hold of guns and blowing friends away or blowing themselves away. But you know what? Like I said before, it more falls on the responsibility of the parent. If they're going to own a firearm, they should knowledge their children in the use and respect of a firearm. You know, if they did that, I know people that have children. I won't name them, of course, for any legalities, but I know people that started off with their kids at like 8 years old, taking them out, teaching them out. Hell, I fired one when I was 8 years old with my grandpa. He used to take me out all the time with his 22 rifle and a 22 handgun. You know what I mean? Like, but he taught me the respect of it, and he taught me how to load it, and he taught me how to clean it, and just, I'm not a gun expert by any means, but I was at least explained the dangers and respect of a firearm. Nowadays,
And most
these
kids these
are
days,
just watching this, and they just think it's funny most of the time. And look at the games.
yeah.
Not to bag on games, because I too am a gamer myself, but I mean, look at some of the games that these children are allowed to play, like Grand Theft Auto. I got nothing against the Rockstar company, and I got nothing against Grand Theft Auto, but I don't believe that a 10-year-old should be playing Grand Theft fucking Auto.
No.
That's
And that comes back to like what we were talking about earlier. Like the parents need to be more involved and know what their kids are doing. Like I used to say all the time, when I was younger, like music, pop culture, like movies and video games, they didn't have like effect on like children's psychology.
they really do.
But I mean, they really do. I mean, like they're
Look at
they're getting
okay,
numb to this shit.
not to get too far on another section, but look at the way girls dress these days. And I'm not saying that we should go back down to like, ankle skirts and shit like that. But there ain't no reason why any self-respecting woman should walk into a place with her
I
ass
do.
cheeks hanging out of her pants. I don't.
No doubt.
If a woman wants to
It's like-
express herself, that's cool. But when you expose yourself, that is
That's
completely
not
different.
expressing. That is
Yeah, that is
exactly.
That is
That's not
completely
expressing. That's exposing. Like I don't give a shit what anybody says. Like I've had people like criticize me because I've said something about women. Like I've gone to like family beaches and there's women that are wearing thong bikinis. Like it's like yeah, I like to see it, but that's
Right.
not.
That's not what
That's
I want my
not
kids to see.
appropriate.
You know what I mean? You want to do that? Go to a friend's beach, or you know what? Like here in Indiana, up in Michigan. If anybody's been there, there's Silver Beach. Well, right across the channel, there's this place called Tuscanini. I believe. I'm not 100% on the name, but that beach is like a loner beach. You can go there. There's not a lot of people usually. It's secluded. That would be more of like a thong bikini showing damn near everything but your clit kind of bathing suit. But when you're over in Silver Beach, where people are bringing their family and everything else, you shouldn't be showing everything that you got. You know what I mean? You shouldn't just be showing it off. Have more
No.
respect for yourself. Do you want
That's
to
what it's
attract a man through your body, or do you want to? All these women always complain about attracting the wrong fucking guys. Well, you know what? If you didn't use your tits and
I
ass to
wonder
attract
why.
them, right? They wouldn't be just trying to get a lay, and then you wouldn't be complaining about a dude that just fucked you and left. You'd be happy with the dude that you found because he actually gives a shit about you and everything else that goes with you, not just what you're going to do for him, if you know what I mean.
No doubt. But all right, getting back into it, because yeah, that's another topic. We'll go off at tangents. It's gonna happen. You guys will love it. Love it. Okay, but the next part of this, the storage is pretty much self-explanatory. I think the way that they're actually going to do it is if there is an event where like they find out that you didn't have it properly locked up, you're going to face consequences. And I'm not completely opposed to that. But when they just like go out saying these random slogans about safe storage and all this stuff, it's like no, explain yourself. You have the time.
People-
Quit being lazy.
People don't even, the shitty part is most of these people don't even do their own research. They just hop on a train and ride it for a while. You know what I mean? Oh, and they think what they're fighting for is a good cause, and in some ways it is. But the way that it's being dealt out and handled is not. It is not like, yeah, I don't even want to talk about that right now. So we'll talk about that another time. I was about
Yeah,
to
but
bring
like
something
I'm
up.
saying, like people constantly, like especially with the gun issue, people constantly use all these like political buzzwords, and it drives me crazy. Like assault weapon. What's an assault weapon? If I assault you with a stick, is that an assault weapon? Weapon of war. If I'm on a battleground in wartime and I pick up a stick and I beat somebody to death with that, is that a weapon of war?
I guess so for that time.
But I know what they're talking about. I know what they're trying to get out there, but it's these political buzzwords where these NPCs just constantly talk about this stuff and they just spew it out, not knowing what they're talking about. Most of them don't know what they're talking about.
No.
Like weapons of war, they're talking about like rifles that have a pistol grip and have all these additions that you can add onto your rifle and stuff, and magazines that can go from 30 all the way up to 100 rounds in the magazine. High capacity magazines, more than 10 rounds. Like I said earlier, my everyday carry pistol carries 14 rounds. That's illegal. I can't get another magazine that's going to fit only 10 rounds in that.
Yeah, that'll reach
And
the
there's
chamber. What you'll have
yeah,
to do is
and
probably just keep 10 in it at all times. And does that mean 10 in the clip and 1 in the chamber? Or does that mean 9 in the clip and 1 in the chamber?
exactly.
You know what I mean? But, I mean, it shouldn't matter the clip size, honestly, either. That, again, it's not the problem. That's not the problem.
No.
They're
Like I
trying to
showed
push all
earlier,
this
it's
shit
not
so they
hard
can
to change
take our
it out.
last biggest freedom away. You know, they've all but taken freedom of speech out because you can't say anything you want anymore. Because if you do, you're either a bigot or an asshole or
I honestly don't
a
care
terrorist or I don't either. I still say what I want and I always will. I don't give two shits. I really don't.
Like I'll kind of like watch what I say on this podcast since I'm uploading it to YouTube now, and I want to get that reach out there. I want people, like, the biggest reason why I'm doing this podcast right now is there's a lot of people that are out there. Like, you got like the Daily Wire, you got the Blaze, you got all these people that are doing this stuff, and like there's these big corporations that cast a big shadow. But I feel like these people are kind of disconnected from like the everyday man and woman that are out there. I mean, yeah, they have their experiences, but I don't know. Let's get back into this. Closing the bump stop loophole. Now, this is one thing that I had a bit of a grievance with President Trump. I'm a Trump supporter. I'll say it.
Me too.
I don't look at him as like God King Trump like some of these people
Nope,
do,
I
where
don't
they're
even,
like,
I don't even think I would like hanging out with him, but he was damn good for this country. That's all I
yeah,
can say.
like honestly, when I first heard that he was running for president, I thought it was absolutely hilarious. And
I thought
after
it was
the
a
8
joke,
years of
dude. I did.
after the 8 years of Obama, I was like, oh, dude, I'm definitely voting for Donald Trump. Politics is like a complete joke.
And you know why, they didn't like Donald Trump, dude. It's because he was too much of somebody they didn't want. Like he spoke his mind. He had balls of solid steel and said, "I don't give a shit what you say. I'm gonna do it anyways. I'm the president." You know.
And the biggest
that's
thing
the
that
kind of
bugs me,
president we needed, really, the guy with balls.
the biggest thing that bugs me about people with Donald Trump is like a lot of them, like you'll hear them say, "Oh, he's a conservative." Donald Trump was not a conservative. He was definitely a liberal. Like people, like I get it. Not everybody has the time to like look into like stuff and like understand like all these ideologies and stuff like that. But I hate the whole.
Aside from the political part of it, the thing I hated the most was the racism that they tried to bring into it.
Yeah,
Even though
like this dude.
nobody did research about it either, but this dude did so much for so many different ethnicities, communities. It was amazing, Nobody
And at
else
the end
did
of the
that shit before.
And at the end of the day, people shouldn't have had, like, I know he didn't do it, like, for that reason, but I mean, it's getting to the point, like, where you have to, like, do things to prove that you're not a racist. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to kiss anybody's ass to
No,
prove that I'm
I
something.
never will. You know me personally too. There's no no way in hell I would ever kiss anybody's ass. That's not the way
But yeah,
things
this-
should be.
This really bugged me. I mean, bump stocks were already made illegal, so I don't know how they're going to, what loophole they're trying to close with this. I disagreed with Trump on doing this because, like I said, every single gun control issue is an infringement upon the Second Amendment.
Right.
Like any law that bans your ability to have anything to do with guns is an infringement. But let's see. So pretty much what a bump stock is just this accessory that you add to your AR-15, where when you fire the gun, the recoil pushes it back into your shoulder and pushes it back to your finger to where it's it's this constant back and forth where it's just hitting your finger and firing, and it gives it like this automatic, like this, it's almost like an automatic fire, but it's not. Like your finger's still pulling the trigger. Like, I think that's like a big thing that people get wrong a lot of time, is like they hear the word like semi-automatic. Like semi-automatic, bang, bang, bang. Fully automatic, bang, 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 bang.
Well,
So,
a fully automatic, you pull that trigger down and that's it. It's just unloading until the clip's out. But there's also things you have to worry about when you do that, is your barrel overheating and warping and making the gun jam, or but anyways, it's and then you got the hair trigger that you just barely squeeze it and it's popping off rounds. Then you got something like a revolver.
but I mean, like the biggest thing with bumps, like you remember the Vegas shooting, right?
Vaguely.
That was back that was back Obama's time. I can't remember the year it was, but it was a Jason Aldean concert in Las Vegas, and this guy took like all these guns up into this hotel room, and like he just like
Started lighting
shot through
people
this
up.
window and just lighting people up, and like a one thing that he used was a bump stock. Now I said earlier in the podcast, like I don't like attributing these to false flags, but as much as I've looked into the Vegas shooting, I don't know.
Well, see, that's something that we're quick to do too. When something like that goes on, we immediately attribute everything pertaining to that moment, you know, making that moment happen. So we're like, don't do this no more because that happened once. You know what I mean? Or don't let this happen because this happened once. Now, if you see repetition in something, then yeah, something needs to be done. But like, you can't sit here and
But it gets to the point.
tax people's money for months and months and years over legislation that doesn't even really need to happen when we already got stuff in place for that.
But it gets to the
We just had
point
one
where like
dumbass.
all this gun control is doing is limiting law-abiding citizens who aren't committing these crimes. They're just taking rights from them. That's my biggest problem with it. That's why I do jump to these red flag theories where like it wouldn't, I don't put it past this wicked government to do stuff like that
Well, let me
just so
say
they could
this,
pass legislation like this.
and it's probably been going on longer than 50 years now. But I would say for the better part of 50 years, we have been having rights slowly but surely taken from us, more and more every year. And until we wake up and stop it, or they complete whatever cycle it is that they're on, and we become a third world country or something like that, nothing's ever going to change, and we're just going to keep going forward towards this train wreck that's going to eventually happen. You know what I mean? If we don't, and I'm not like saying we should all come together as kumbaya, but we should all be proud to be Americans and see what the hell's happening to America. You know what I mean?
See, I don't really like the idea of being like proud to be in America. I feel honored to be an American. I
I'm
feel like
proud
that's a better.
and honored to be an American.
I
I am proud to say that I am an American. You know what I mean? I grew up in the U.S. of A.
see, but I think that's like when I think about it, like pride and like its general sense is like what's leading us to all this destruction. So I don't know. I was thinking about that
Oh, no,
earlier.
no,
I
no,
saw
no.
somebody.
I didn't say that I was proud of what America is. I said that I am proud to be an American.
I get it.
I'm proud of what America stands for. Now, I've said that before to you before, like I love what America stands for, but I don't really like what America is because it's not what it actually stands for anymore.
It's not what it used to be.
You know, this
Like,
land was founded by the people for the people, and it's no longer ran by the people for the people. It's ran by these corporations and these money hungry pigs out there that could give two shits what happened to the actual real people in America. You know, but as far as being an American, hell yeah, I'm proud of being, and I am honored to be an American too. You know, I was
we're
honored with the
lucky.
privilege of growing up in America. You know, when it
We
was
could have
good.
We could have been born in Cambodia.
Right, right. And you know, but see,
Like that.
freedom is a loose word these days too, because there's a lot of nations out there that have quite a bit of freedom. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But that's another topic too.
Mm-hmm.
We should go over that sometime.
Definitely. But let's get on to this last one. I'm probably not going to touch too much on the 3 articles that I want to, because we're already running pretty long on this episode.
Yeah.
But to finish this off, this pretty much just goes into like large capacity ammunition, which what I was already talking about earlier. High capacity magazines. They're saying anything that's over 10 rounds, which Canada actually went to a further extreme and said anything 5 or more. Like you can only have 5 rounds in your magazine. That's
Yeah, I mean, their hearts. I think people that are trying to do shit, their hearts are in the right spot, but I think their minds
not the
are in the wrong
politicians.
direction. No, not the politicians. No, I said people. I said people, not slithering snakes.
Y'all can read through this bill. Y'all can see what it is. Like, I mean, that's. I was listening to a guy the other day, one of the podcasts that I listened to, Tim Pool, and he's been dealing with like politics like for the last like 20 years. He was doing like a bunch of political activism. Like he was there. What was that Wall Street thing? I can't remember what it was, but he was at Wall Street when they had this big fiasco going, and that's pretty much where he got his start from. But he was talking about how like when he was younger, like he wished people cared more about politics, and like I oh no, we lost him again. Yeah, like I was saying, like I used to say that I wish like more people would get involved with politics, but it's become this point where politics has almost become like pop culture, like to where like kids are like speaking all these like political terms. Like that's what I was saying like earlier, like all these political buzzwords that people know nothing about.
I'm not a big fan of it, but it almost reminds me of a big episode of Jersey Shores. That's what America is anymore. The Jersey Shores.
You're not even
and
lying. But
Biden is Snooki. No, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. Please don't sue me. No.
Sue him. Do it. You won't get nothing.
Be like trying to get blood out of a turnip.
But I mean, it's like.
Oh, by the way, real quick, kids, don't smoke. I'm an idiot. Okay. All right, continue.
Good job there. But it's like, yeah, I want people to be involved in politics, but I want them to actually be involved. Like we've been saying in this episode, it's like, go read the bill. Look at what you're actually talking about before you start.
To what everybody is just saying. Do your research, man.
Yeah, don't even listen to me. Don't listen to us. Like we all have this amazing device that has all this information inside of it. Like the biggest thing that
get off TikTok and do your research.
Dude, that's actually what I was going to get into. Like I kept on seeing all these memes like during like the pandemic and all that shit where people were like, regular people can't do your research. It takes like highly skilled professionals and experts. No, it doesn't. You can like even with COVID, you could go on there. You can look at like you can look at all the medical data that the CDC was letting out. You can look at what the World Health Organization was letting out. You could read what they're putting out. They're not hiding this stuff from us. They're putting it out, and we just did 3 episodes on the Great Reset. Go watch those. Go listen to those. There's 2 episodes where you could watch. There's 1 episode that you got to listen to, the first one. But the Great Reset is a real thing. It's not a conspiracy theory. It is a conspiracy, and these people want us to eat bugs and stop eating meat.
For anybody that watches this that is into TikTok, I'll tell you what. Try and do this. For every 5 TikTok videos you watch, take 5 minutes and read some shit.
Yeah. Just go.
You want to know something? Like he said, you can find it anywhere, man. It's easy to find this shit. Sometimes you got to be quick about it because they take it down.
Like, you're not lying. You're not lying. But I've said this before on the podcast, like a big thing with like looking into stuff, like when you're reading stuff, you can obviously like see the bias in what you're reading. Like there's clearly like I know you were talking about earlier, like it's not like a left-wing thing or a right-wing thing, but there is like a lot of people have been talking lately about civil war and like we might be leading up to it.
There is a left and a right, but it's in the government. It's not us. We the people.
It's us.
We're only following what we follow. We're only following what we are led, and this is through parents and everything. If your parents, you do get some kids that they don't really believe what their parents believe, but 9 times out of 10, they believe one of the other's parents' views. You know what I mean? And a lot of these, instead of doing your own, like we keep going back to, doing your own research and shit, you know, parents should encourage their kids to think open-mindedly instead of exactly what they've just been told. Same thing with religion. Don't get me on that. We'll talk about that another time too, but you know, that shit too. People only believe what they've been
grab my
taught
Bible.
People only believe what they've been fed to believe for forever, you know, for as long as we can remember. You know, and there are certain people that are starting to break away from that, you know, and starting to be a little more open-minded about how things actually are in the world, but not enough yet, you know. So, you know, even if nobody but maybe 100 people look at this stuff, or, you know, at least if there's other people out there doing the same thing, trying to get the same message out there, and we may not even be 100% on every fact. We may missay things, but the point is, do your own research then. You know what I mean? More people need to be knowing about what the is going on. And there's not enough people. There's a handful right now. I have faith in humanity, man. Every day I'll have some experience that'll give me a little bit more faith in humanity. But there's a lot more that keeps making me think, I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Sometimes I do. Sometimes I do get black-pilled, and I'm like, oh, there's no hope for humanity. We're done. But I don't know.
Sometimes feel that way, but there is hope, man. If we can come together as a people, you know, honestly, I think the whole world should come together as a people, but we're not quite ready for that yet. You know what I mean?
Hey.
But it does need to happen. Hey, no. The only way we'll ever
I just
evolve.
I just talked about the Great Reset. Don't go bringing this globalist crap into my podcast. I will slap you.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, dude, it's real.
It's not. It's a human thing, man. Human is a race.
It is. I mean,
by what color, creed, ethnicity, or whatever you are, we are humans.
But at the end of the day,
it's just like being a parent, dude. Think about being a parent. Like I told you before, when you're a parent, it's okay to be your parents, your kid's friend, but you're a parent first. And you know, we can be whatever ethnicity we are and be proud of that, but we're a human first. You know,
but
we should be looking out what's best for humankind, so we don't extinct ourselves fighting over stupid shit.
I completely agree with you. I completely agree with you. But at the end of the day, like what I've been saying is like it's cultural issues. Like, yeah, I completely agree. The whole human race needs to be like for the human race.
Somewhat
but at the end
on
of the
the
day,
same
you
page.
have like completely different cultures. Like what I've been saying, like left and right. Like there is a great divide. Like what used to be like classical liberal like today is being viewed as like right wing today, and it's like no,
Yeah.
like the guy that I was talking about, Tim Pool. I mean, a lot of people are talking about how he's a conservative and right wing. No, he is a classical liberal. Like the left has just gone
originally
so far.
originally it was the Democratic Republic, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And now it's been separated, and it's been changed so many times. Like this was that was this is now that. That's
Mhm.
why I said that's another reason why I say there is no left or right, man. It's just another way, like we
Mhm.
keep going back to keep us fighting amongst ourselves instead of what we should be focusing on. Hunger everywhere. When we throw millions of cheeseburgers away from these restaurants that they didn't get served, so we got to throw them away because or these grocery stores
Well,
that
I
have
mean,
things that
I
I get for the
I
freshness and everything, but you know what? Like a cheeseburger from McDonald's, do you know that you could take this thing and a year from now, if it's wrapped up in its little cellophane, it'd probably be the same way it was when it was wrapped. You know what I mean? So
I
many
I
chemicals they put in that shit to keep
hey,
it
hold on.
good. Send that shit over where people are hungry.
I get what you're saying on that, like how I said earlier, like we're wasting like a lot of like a lot of resources and stuff like that, and that's another thing. Like we make too much
These
food,
are the things we need to be
but
focusing on.
I understand why like employers like just throw that stuff out instead of giving it to the homeless, because all it takes is for one person to get
It's a
sick and
potential of being a
throw into
lawsuit. Yeah, I know.
and sink the company. Like
I
that's how
get that.
petty
I
people
do. I
are.
understand that. Exactly. You get, and this is why people are
It's why
so
you can't
afraid
do good things for
to be
people.
nice. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like it's so hard to be good to people now because you don't know if this sumbitch is trying to get you over on one. You know what I mean? Like,
Like the
oh, you
lady with
helped
the
me.
hot coffee at McDonald's.
Yeah.
I
You
always go
I
back
mean,
to that.
oh my god. Oh my god, if I
That's
was
an
allowed
old
to,
one,
that
but
was the
that will never
look.
leave my mind.
41 years, I ain't never hit a woman in my life, but I would slap the shit out of that woman. Like, how are you gonna, like, come on, man. It's hot coffee. You ordered hot coffee.
I got him
What,
going.
what, then you gonna sue them over giving you cold coffee? If they gave you cold coffee, this is supposed to be hot coffee. I ordered hot coffee. So no, instead, I burnt my lap. Well, you dumbass, you shouldn't have put the cup between your legs. That's what cup holders are for. You know what I mean? Like, yeah,
And speaking
that
of
whole thing was
lawsuits,
stupid.
before we end this podcast, speaking about lawsuits and stuff like that, they don't mention it in
And
this
I'm
bill, but
sorry
I
for
know
my
another.
language, everybody.
Don't be sorry, be
Sorry.
better.
I'm trying.
I'm trying. Try harder.
Don't make me cry on TV.
But another thing that they've been talking about, like they actually, I can't. I want to say it was Smith and Wesson that they did it with, but I think it was for I can't remember. But they want to like remove like the immunity that gun manufacturers have with their guns for when like stuff like these mass shootings happen, and it's like the same thing, like not exactly the same thing as the McDonald's hot coffee thing, but it's like at the end of the day, like I mean, that's what the gun. It's not made for like the mass shootings, but I mean, the guns are made for killing people, and blaming the company for when some lunatic gets a hold of a gun and goes
Yeah.
and does something completely tragic, that should not be on the company. That's just
No.
another way for them to put the company out of business, and that's just another gun manufacturer that's out of business and more guns that aren't being made that civilians need. I mean, honestly,
and
in
we
this
do.
world, I would love to live in.
And I don't know if I've said this or not, but I'm just putting it out there for anybody watching to know this. Me and Ricky are in different pages of that. Okay, like he owns a gun, I don't. He likes guns and probably will get more. I probably won't. I might get me a handgun just so I can,
I might
protect
already have
myself.
more.
Oh, I bet. And it's, but it's still that, I should still have the right to buy one if I want.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? I may not be all into guns and may go batshit crazy and get me, a 6-foot safe built for a bunch of guns, but I do believe I should never lose the right to buy one myself.
But I mean, and like I was gonna say, like I would much rather live in a world where I don't feel like I need to have a gun, but it's like in this day and age, like the world is getting crazy. Like
Well, you will never live in a society that you won't have to defend yourself, because no
exactly.
matter
But I
how
mean,
well we
like
make things, there's gonna be crazy people out there.
but it used to be like, I mean, yeah, you might get in a fight with somebody, you might have to duke it out with somebody, but it's to the point where like I don't know if somebody that has an issue with me is going to have a gun or even a knife or just some sort of weapon
You
where
can't
I
even do that anymore, dude. You okay? So look, I know this isn't the right way to look at things, but when I was younger and you had a problem with somebody, most times you would go out back, y'all duke it out, it would be over. And then y'all probably, chances are, either go and have fun with each other if you guys were kids, go and play, be robbers, whatever, or you would go to the bar and have a drink with each other after work if it was a work situation. But these days, there's
and that's what
no
I'm saying. That's
there.
what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
and
It's
now
like
if you fight a dude, you got to worry about if that dude's going to come back at you with a 9 mil and shoot you. You know what I mean? Like, I beat
mhm.
your ass, ha ha ha. It's over. It's done. No more. We found what the solution was, and you're going to come back and shoot me because you're apparently a bigger man. You know what I mean? Like,
Everybody go watch Friday. What? You
mhm,
can't take a punch, you can't take an ass whooping? Best
right,
part out of that movie.
right. And I'm not saying everybody should settle everything with violence, but
No, but I mean
there's
it
there's
should
quite a
be
bit of it. But I mean, it shouldn't lead to death. You know what I mean?
exactly.
And that's what it does.
Sometimes somebody does need to get smacked
And that's
around.
why I
I
think
mean,
every kid in the USA
but
deserves a
I
good
mean I
ass. I
wish
think every kid deserves a good ass whooping every now and then, so they know that they're a child.
but I mean I
And
wish
this
like
everybody's a winner bullshit don't work.
I wish it could be like how it used to be, like where that was as extreme as it would go. Where like, hey, we might get into a fight if we disagree. Like we might punch
Hmm.
each other. We might leave with like a broken nose or a bloody lip or a bloody
Right.
nose. But now
But
it's
I'm not going to
like,
come back and blow you
if
away
I
if I
look at
lose.
you wrong, are you gonna shoot me? Are you gonna stab me? Like I
Yeah,
don't trust people in this world
dude.
anymore. And like,
It's just like the other day. I think it was 2 days ago at the gas station down the road from my house. There was a woman that just walked in, said she was fighting demons, and was swinging a machete around. Yeah, there was like a squad cars up the yin yang over there in the parking lot of the gas station. And I asked what happened,
bless
and that's
this
what they
water.
said. There was some lady in there with a freaking machete talking about fighting demons. Like, this is wow. And you
Sprinkle
think
some holy
guns are the
water on
problem?
her.
You think guns are the
Exactly.
problem? Next, we're gonna be licensed not to be able to have a machete. You know what I mean? We're gonna have to fill out paperwork to get us even a blade. you know?
And like they're also trying to like institute this like whole buyback program where they like start paying us the money that we paid in taxes for our weapons back. And it's like, I mean, you look at countries like Australia that had a buyback system. Over in Europe, they had a buyback system, and like I see these people on Twitter constantly getting on there that are from like the UK and Australia, like, oh, we sold our weapons and we don't have these mass shootings. Bullshit, you guys do, and not even
Bullshit.
that. You guys also have stabbings and other, like if somebody wants to kill somebody, they're gonna find a way to do it. Like I would
Yeah.
rather people have the means to protect themselves. Like that's the
Look,
whole
think about
point.
this, dude. Before we end this show, just think about this, okay? Since the dawn of time, man has been killing man, has been killing man, has been killing man. It isn't human nature. And until we get past that Neanderthalic, I don't give a shit how much they sugarcoat it or, pepper it with media or whatever. It's still man versus man right now.
Hmm.
It's very prehistoric Neanderthalish thinking that we still use to this day, because it's not nothing about anything other than money and dick swinging. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Who's the biggest? Who's the baddest?
And like I know not everybody that listens to this is gonna look at it from a religious point of view, but I mean, the way that the Bible puts it is that every man is born with hate in their heart, and the only way to do that is with positive culture, and that's what I'm trying to do. I mean, I'm trying to get messages out there, but I mean, I know some people might not believe in like the scripture and all that stuff, but I mean, you can at least like look at like what the teachings are and like that there is some good that you could take away from that. And because, like you said, like, I mean, since the beginning of time, man has been against man, killing man, and it's just a repetitive cycle. I mean, it's
Yep.
the only way that people are going to get rid of that. It's not by eliminating guns in this country. The only way that you're going to be able to do that is if you can find a way to remove hate from people's hearts, and it's never going to happen. That's like my problem with this whole attack on like racism and white supremacy. Like the only way that you're going to get rid of that is again getting rid of people's hatred. Like people.
No, I get what you're saying, because our government kind of does it too. Whenever we start getting privy to the things that they do in our nation as a whole, they always come up with some other thing for us to focus our attention on, and then we kind of forget about it. You know what I mean? You know, whether it be something overseas is going on, you know, like worry about North Korea firing missiles at us. They couldn't hope to reach us even if they wanted to. You know what I mean? But they're all televising it, saying it's a major thing, and they're about to launch nukes at us and shit like that. You know, it's always something to cloud our vision from what really is going on and to focus on something else, you know. And a lot of the issues that are going on in our society and our culture and everything else keep going back to that, unfortunately. You know, I know we keep circling around the same damn things whenever we start talking about certain things, but it's because that's the biggest problem. You know, we are being led by sheep. We are being led like sheep,
Like
and they are the shepherds. But they're not the shepherds that we want. You know what I mean? They're not the ones trying to lead us to a better life and a promised land and shit. They're trying to lead us to slaughter without us even knowing it's slaughter. You know what I mean?
Okay, so real quick, I'm gonna wrap this episode up because we've been going for a while. I want to briefly touch up on these 3 articles that I got here. I'm not gonna read out of them, but I'm gonna let you guys know that they are in the website. When I write my blog, I will include these, but you guys should check these out. Real quick is if you guys don't know about the American Reveille, you guys should really check them out and follow them. They got a lot of good writers. Like if you look right here, they've got a ton of writers. Like Kinsley Kurtz, that's a little strange. No relation, I promise. It's a conspiracy. But yeah, this is a really good article that I wanted to touch on, but we didn't have time for it. But I'll be posting it in the blog so you could check it out. Another thing that I want to talk about that never, like, we live in Indiana, northern Indiana. We're like 2 hours from Chicago. Chicago shootings, 47 shot, 9 fatally over Memorial Day weekend. This didn't become the national conversation like the Buffalo shooting or the Uvalde shooting down in Texas. I mean, and I hate to say like it's like some racist thing, like they don't care because it's black on black crime, but I mean at the end of the day, I mean like I live close to a pretty predominantly black neighborhood, and I mean the same thing is going on here, not as drastically as Chicago, but I mean but
like you said, we got to get rid of the hate before anything can move forward. But
I don't see that as an
hating each
actual
other.
possibility. I don't see it as a
I know.
possibility. And
Which is scary.
right here is another thing. Another thing that never becomes like the national conversation in the mainstream media. This was back in 2017. The Sutherland Springs shooting that happened at a Texas church. Stephen Williford. There was a man that went into a Baptist church and killed 26 people. And this man, Stephen, came out with his AR-15 and started shooting at the guy. Hit the guy. Then the guy got in his car, drove off, and this Steven guy and some other guy got in a car and started following him or shooting at him. And they're saying that the guy shot himself and killed himself, and that's how it all ended. But I mean, Steven very well stopped a lot more people from being injured from this guy, because apparently he had a lot more ammunition on him, and it's very evident that he was.
There's crazy people in this world, but there's also people like that. And you just think about that for a minute. All these people that want the gun rights taken. If the gun rights were taken, would that gentleman have been able to stop even more people being killed? Because who knows that this guy got this from a shop? He could have got it off the streets.
Mm-hmm.
Really, you want to solve gun problems, maybe you should be a little more intent about worrying about guns on the street that are illegal rather than, some of the minor things that you guys worry about.
I mean, and that
like
gets
the gun
back
laws
into
ain't the problem.
that gets back into the whole conspiracy side. Like, have you ever heard of Fast and Furious? Not the movie. Not the
I was
movie.
going to say the movie, yeah, but
It was this operation that the ATF was doing down in the border of Mexico, where they were actually. I don't know offhand if they were like giving guns to the cartels down there, but they pretty much, like, it's been proven that the ATF somehow got guns to this cartel that they chose. Like, have you ever heard of El Chapo?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
He was a part of that cartel. They found out when they finally
El
took him
Chapo,
in.
I thought, was like a competitor with, what the hell's Pablo Escobar.
Mm-hmm. Yep. He was a big drug
That was
lord
like his
down
right-hand man, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was his right-hand man.
Something like
shit
that.
there.
I remember hearing something about this recently, but yeah, like our government has. There's tons of instances where our government has literally given like all this weapons and ammunition to like all these foreign like terrorist groups like cartels and like the Taliban.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I think that's going to be it for this episode. I just wanted to touch up on that real quick. Again, wherever you're viewing this, be sure to like, subscribe, comment, follow us. You can find me on Twitter at r_winghoosier. I post some good stuff from time to time. Go ahead and give me a follow. Share the podcast. You can find our podcast pretty much anywhere that you can find podcast at. We're on Apple, Google, Spotify, Castbox. We're pretty much everywhere now. The videos are going to be up on YouTube and Rumble. I don't know how long we'll be up on YouTube because since we don't have like a huge following, I know smaller accounts usually get cut off for saying stuff that the YouTube algorithms don't like, which I'm cool with. I mean, if I get kicked off YouTube, I really don't care. I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say. I'll kind of in a way like ease it, but at the end of the day, like, this stuff needs to be said. These conversations need to be had. And I mean, honestly, what I want to do with this podcast, like I said before, is just have like regular people talk, and like I'm gonna try to have more people come on the show. Mm-hmm. I'll even have like crazy leftists, as long as they're not like the type of people. Yeah, like I've talked with some people and they just start screaming and try to shout me down. Yeah. Especially since this is pre-recorded. You're not going to win on that. I'm just going to cut it off and I'm going to be like, I guess I'm not releasing an episode. But, I mean, if somebody does want to have a conversation with me, I mean, I'm not the smartest person, but, I mean, I at least got some sort of common sense. I'll talk to people.
I will too. I like talking to people. I like hearing other people's views and everything.
And that's another thing. I want to touch on real quick between the left and the right, like especially like when you see it on Twitter, like a big thing. Like, have you ever heard of Ben Shapiro, Jewish guy?
No, but I'll look him up.
And I don't necessarily I like him. I don't like think that highly of him. But he has a thing where like he constantly posts these videos of like owning the libs, like the right wing of politics is always trying to like go out and like that's a big reason why I'm on Twitter. Like, I was on Facebook and I was constantly getting throttled. Like, I've been throttled harder on Facebook than I have on Twitter for things that I posted. Like, I feel
like half the people on Facebook that talk shit don't even know what they're talking about.
Oh, definitely don't. But I mean, like, I posted stuff on there and they've like put me like right on that line of almost being banned from Facebook, and now I'm just on a warning.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah, dude. I've got pictures to prove it. I pretty much I was being sarcastic and was talking crap about straight white Christian men, and apparently that was too much for Twitter, or not Twitter,
Wow.
but Facebook.
Facebook.
But yeah, it was crazy. But yeah, the right wants to have these conversations. The left wants to stay in their echo chambers. That's pretty much what I want to get down. Like, I want to eliminate that. I want to eliminate that. I want to have conversations with people. I want people to talk out their differences. Like,
right. Come to a common ground, you know what I mean? That's really what does really need to happen, you know, but some of these people are so closed-minded and unwilling to like communicate about it. That's one of the issues that we got too, man.
Yeah, I mean,
You know,
I've had conversations like,
let's talk about it, you know what I mean?
I do want to find
fight nobody.
I do want to find common ground with people, but I'm not going to find common ground with a person that believes that like abortion should be allowed all the way up to 9 months and even after the baby is out of the woman's womb.
Yeah, I just can't get on board on that, dude.
People pay attention to the bills that are coming out.
Yeah, no shit. Before they come out without you knowing. That's a big issue as well. Like, a lot of this stuff will come out and people will focus on other things while these bills are being passed, and when they get voted on and passed, people are like, well, I didn't even know that was a thing, you know. Well, because you don't ask. You're more worried about, I hate to keep bringing it up, nothing against you, Johnny Depp, but Johnny Depp and his fucking ex and that crazy shit. They're more worried about that.
But
or
right
the
here,
Kardashians, you know.
But right here, before we end this, Congress.gov, if you have... all you have to do is go up in this search bar like they got up here, healthcare. All you got to search for is what you're like wanting to look for. Search it. It's not hard, people. Look this stuff up. If you got something that you want to know about, go out and look for it. I wouldn't advise...
If you find something you want to bring up, contact Ricky. We'll bring it on the podcast.
Yeah,
you know
I'll
what
talk
I mean?
about
we'll
it.
talk about it.
I don't really trust Google. I use Brave right now. I was using DuckDuckGo, but they proved to be not very trustworthy. But I haven't had too much issue. Like that's the problem with big tech, is like when you're trying to like look up these stuff. That's why I was saying earlier, like, pay attention to like the bias in like what you're reading, because it's clearly there. So you kind of got to like look at like both sides and then like come to like a middle ground where like what's actually the truth, because they're like, I talk shit about like disinformation and misinformation, but it's out there. I mean, people need to realize that. But we're going far on this episode, but we're gonna go ahead and cut it off.
Too.
I'm just so inspirational that I'm bringing tears to your eyes.
I got tears in my eyes, man. I just can't focus right now. Thanks for that.
We'll bid you all a farewell, and I need to be careful with that. Make sure it's not looking like a Nazi salute.
No, that's more straightforward. That I did. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but when I do that and like the video pauses like that, I don't care.
Yeah,
Clip
but
me out of
just because you
context.
extend doesn't mean, you know, you got to say the words too. But yeah, all right, man.
You guys
guess-
all take it easy. We're going to go ahead and close this out. But have a good day. Good night.
Whatever it is, wherever you're watching. Peace.